It hath been more than 5,000 days since last I came to you, and now the second coming of Maligner is upon us. Which is a fancy way of saying it's been 17 months since I put up a video. And now I'm going to put up my second one. Sorry for the delay, but I was moving across the country and getting a new job and a new house and a new car and being a father and a husband and starting up my own company and all sorts of fun stuff. So anyway, on to the project. Also, as a dad, I might start using props now. Right. So brace yourself for stupidity. So, this is Living Without a Soul, Knowledge is Broken, Part 2. Superhuman Complexity. Alright. So, let's get started. It's pretty easy to start with something that you do for a living, so that's what I'm doing. Now, an IT project is something that's pretty complex, and I'm going to use that to illustrate something. Now, in an IT project, we have documentation, code, some sort of database, and an infrastructure. Now, there may be more, but these are the common key elements in the vast majority of IT projects that I've seen. Now, this looks straightforward, but let's look closer. Let's look at the documents. For documents in such a project, I would expect at least 4. There's the statement of work, which is kind of like a contract explaining what the project is, the value it provides, who will do it, for how much, over how much time, and so on. The design and requirements can be one document, but this usually requires multiple documents with lots of pages, diagrams, and complicated information. Then there's the test plan, which is crucial in deciding how the solution will be used by describing tests, as well as verifying that the design and the requirements are met by the finished product. The operations and procedure document, again, this is actually usually not one document, but lots of documents. This describes all the known issues, the support procedures, and the troubleshooting methodology. Now, since the test plan sounds the most straightforward, let's take a look at that. The test plan needs a number of different sections to make sure everything is clear. The intro explains the doc itself. References would refer to other documents. And then the rest is who does what, what's being tested, the test procedure itself, what's needed, when the testing will happen, how long it takes, what we're assuming and depending on, usually some terminology definitions. The shortest test plan I've seen is 16 pages. The longest is around 80 pages. Need I remind you that this is one of the simpler documents, of many deliverables. Now, a deliverable is something that a client pays for and can point to by saying, I paid for that, right? So the deliverables of an IT project would include a lot of stuff. It includes documentation up the wazoo, more than anyone cares to read, code which the client probably doesn't even understand, a sophisticated infrastructure including networks, hardware, computers, support contracts, and so on, and a set of complicated and interdependent data structures. All of this is man-made. Do you think even this mere man-made construct can fit properly into one human mind? I pose it a big, fat no on that idea. So that's a human-made project. But what about biology? This includes every gene in a genome and what characteristics the gene affects. How do you expect someone to know every permutation and combination? What about the cure for cancer and multiple sclerosis? I mean, those would be gene things as well. What about astrophysics? This includes the nature of black holes, space, radiation and gravity, the origins of the cosmos. What makes you think it's something so simple that even Hawking could fit it all into his head alone? I mean, yeah, he knows a lot, but does he know enough to answer every question with only a scratch pad and his own memory? I doubt it. What about the many frontiers of natural sciences like atomic theory, which have comparable vastness and complexity and sheer volume of information? Well, These are beyond what one person could expect to know without references, or a team of colleagues and their references. I claim that the knowledge of any one person is analogous to a teaspoon, and the knowledge in the universe is an ocean, ever-changing, ever-vast, and ever-mysterious. To have access to any kind of knowledge beyond what one human ape can clumsily stumble through from zero, you need other people. The secret to the flow of knowledge between people is to listen and share, a process my daddy likes to call communication. But even verbal communication alone is limited, which is why human progress was mired in the mud for millennia. All we had for the sharing of ideas were localized dialects spoken by mud-painted, family-centric tribes grunting out stories and superstitions over a hard-won meal. Then came the most remarkable of discoveries: advanced passive communication. Passive communication is a term I use to describe any signal one would leave behind. We've actually been unknowingly doing the basic form of it since forever, even before we were humans. Just by leaving tracks in the dirt, which communicates our passage, or squatting and defecating in a bush more than once, which communicates the border of our territory. Even dogs and insects do this, marking territory, leaving scent trails, and so on. Once we realized that we could marry this passive communication with our ability to use advanced communication, like pictures and language, we could leave sophisticated knowledge in our wake, even beyond death. Now, this means that we could accumulate our knowledge, not only as individuals, but as communities. As our knowledge advanced, communication became more advanced, which allowed for more advanced communication technologies, and so on. In other words, it snowballed. Now, by communication technologies, I mean things like literacy and writing tools and that sort of stuff. And, of course, things like wireless networks, which is what we're at now. So, what's my point in all this? Well, my point is twofold. First, that individually, we know pitifully little, even the geniuses among us. So accept this. When you talk about what he knows or she knows or what you know, be honest. Only profess what you know. And don't conflate or confuse what you know with what you can access from others, what you knew but you forgot, what you memorized without understanding, and crap you made up. So, expecting superhuman knowledge from a human is just you being ignorant. So whenever you're having a discussion and you say, prove it, and you're both in the middle of a field, well, then you're being an ignorant putz. Secondly, my other point is what separates us from animals is not reason, because other animals have been proven to have reason. It's not morals. It's not problem solving. And it's not opposable thumbs. Animals have all of these. There are animals that have all of these. I mean, look at what ravens can do. It's freaky. So that means these things don't mean anything as far as the differences between animals and us. No. What separates humans from the animal kingdom is the power of advanced passive communication. This includes all those prerequisites for advanced passive communication, such as our social and physical attributes. But that's another collection of subjects altogether. So, my words of wisdom: we are all ignorant, but we can make up for it by having access to the accumulated knowledge of society. That's all I got. Thanks.